Valheim has one of the best designed and interesting creatures in all of gaming, from the screeching lizard-like neck, the undead Viking Draugr, and the blimp-like Jarl. But have you considered which one captures what Valheim is truly all about? Today, we rank all 51 creatures to determine which is most memorable and identify the true icon of Valheim. Bats kick things off by providing absolutely nothing but being a nuisance as you enter your first frost cave. Sure, they drop leather, but they are relentless, cowardly, and terribly difficult to hit, and don't get me started about their raid. Vultures similarly provide immense harassment and typically strike from above and out of sight to make the already overwhelming Ashlands even worse. Perhaps one of the derpiest creatures in Valheim, I have no idea who taught them how to fly. The hare, like bats, rank poorly for once again being a nuisance, but in a completely different way. These spry bunnies are notoriously difficult to slay with their cautious nature and backdrop of blinding mist. This is of course until you get your hands on the Staff of Embers. If only they were tameable, perhaps they would finish higher on my list. Lava blobs fall short simply because we've seen these before with the swamp's blob and plains growth. There's just nothing new here, and weirdly, they feel a lot less dangerous than their predecessors despite their explosive nature. Seeker broods fall short of their competition, offering nothing more than a bug to squash almost accidentally when flailing in infested mines. A shame too, as I believe the Mistlands offer some of the best creatures Valheim has ever delivered. Beating the lava blobs is their younger cousin in growths. Not the top tier of the gooey clan, but an interesting creature guarding the important building material tar, but losing points because these nasty buggers have got me so many times. Skeletons I found difficult to place on the list. They're everywhere in Valheim and in many ways are classic entrants for any fantasy game. That said, maybe it's the fact that they are everywhere both in this game and in others, causing them to fall flat with me in their memorability. The Leech has become my nemesis as of late. If you've been keeping up with my live streams, they have a habit of sneaking up on you in the darkened swamp waters and can seriously pack a punch. In a lot of ways, I do think they're a pretty cool creature, which really speaks to the strength of the others coming on this list. Ghosts, jeez, I can't believe I didn't put these lower. While rare, they don't provide anything of value with not a single drop to their name, not even a trophy. In most of my playthroughs, if I see one of these, I often just avoid them. Not very memorable to me. Oozers are pretty cool and a nice variant on the otherwise common blob-like enemies, and it's pretty sweet how they give a chance to drop some iron scrap. Plus, it's the only creature once destroyed to spawn offspring, which I think is pretty unique. The Askfin were a tough enemy to place. They definitely get points for being tameable, not to mention their resemblance to the Meadow's neck. But there's something about them that just doesn't quite do it for me, like other tamables like the Locks for instance, which you can expect pretty high on my list. The final entrant in the gooey gang is the Blob, easily the most iconic of the bunch. I won't forget my first encounter with these guys, as they lulled me into false security, slowly scuttling toward me, before of course, leaping behind to engulf me in its toxic fumes. The Twitcher falls lowest of the Charred clan, attempting its best Greydwarf impression. For me, I found it hard to place the Charred high, being similar in a lot of ways to the already prevalent skeleton. And of course, this one has to fall lowest, easily being the biggest nuisance of all. The Fueling Shaman are our first real encounter with spellcasting in Valheim. Sorry Greydwarf Shaman and cultists. And they certainly get points for that despite the remainder of the Fueling clan striking me as more memorable. The first of the mountain creatures are the powerful and leaping Ulv. While definitely a cool addition to Frost Caves, they don't quite provide the same menacing feel as the also leaping Fenring, and are only the second most iconic creature coming from the Frost Caves. 34 through 36 are the remaining of the Charred clan, with the Warrior and Warlock getting slight edges over the Archer. While the Charred are pretty badass, they, like the Twitcher, resemble too much the standard skeleton to pull away in my book. That said, the feint attacks from the Warrior and summoning capabilities of the Warlock do make for interesting and unique foes. The Tick holds a special place in my heart, as I'll never forget the first time having these leap from underneath an obsidian ribcage in my first adventure into the Mistlands. Their disgusting look and visceral feeling they provide, and of course, their blood-sucking capabilities, vault this higher in my rankings. The Ashlands troll in the Morgan is nothing to scoff at. Nothing moves quite like it and strikes fear as much as this creature. Who remembers the first time they strolled in a putrid hole thinking they were safe, only to have the Morgan emerge from the earth behind them? That said, it doesn't stand out enough from the backdrop of the Ashlands to truly land high on the list. Fenring set themselves apart being an exclusive nighttime creature, really adding to the mountain's biome's depth, giving the night a unique experience. Every good game needs a werewolf. Breaking the top 30 are both the Devagar Mage and Rogue. While technically there are 3 mage variations, I simplified it into 2 groups for the sake of this list. It's hard to forget the Devagar being the only friendly creature across the world of Valheim, and it was nice to find them once landing in the Mistlands after, of course, Haldor and Hildir. Though when it comes to choosing Rogue or Mage, it has to be the Mage getting the slight edge. Stone golems have always been creatures to give me a headache and has been the source of many of my deaths across my many playthroughs. I simply just can't get their parry timing down, and who hasn't been yeeted off a cliff by one of their swings? Better yet too, they come with 2 variants adding further interest to this great creature. And don't forget, it has one of the best trophies in the entire game. Next on my list is one of the game's most elusive creatures, but first, let me introduce you to an incredible upcoming game, Stone of Madness. Stone of Madness is a tactical stealth adventure game where you play as a band of 5 unique asylum inmates joining forces to escape the terrors of an 18th century Spanish monastery. Each character has specialized skills that, when mastered, will allow you to navigate the asylum's guards with incredible precision. Eduardo, as an example, has unmatched strength, enabling him to move objects, break barriers, and craft useful tools in his cell at night. While my favorite, Leonara, is a ruthless rogue capable of picking locks, climbing walls, immobilizing, or even taking the life of unsuspecting guards. But each are not without their vices. In the shade of darkness, Eduardo will quake and shiver, draining his sanity, while Leonara fears fire, leaving her a shell of her former self. If you fail to manage your character's phobias on your adventure, you will perish and fail. The game consists of day and night cycles, each presenting their own unique challenges, with each day concluding with a preparation phase, where inmates use their abilities to recoup and prepare for the next morning. Further, players will have 2 campaign options with vastly different story progression for further variety. To succeed in Stone of Madness, you will need to study each prisoner's abilities deeply, carefully plan out your maneuvers, and execute on them quickly and with precision. Nothing beats the satisfaction of flawlessly overcoming one of this game's environmental puzzles, and don't get me started on the gorgeous Francisco Goya and Harmonious Bosch inspired hand-drawn art style. In medieval times, they believed the Stone of Madness was the source of mental illness. Will you overcome your own madness? Support the channel by pre-ordering today with my link in the description, launching on January 28th. Thank you to Stone of Madness for sponsoring today's video. Rancid remains are the highest skeletal creature on my list, and for good reason, as they're one of, if not one of my favorite looking enemies in Valheim. Noteworthy for their great size and green glow, they're bound to give you a fright when opening a door in a burial chamber, and do a great job of setting themselves apart from the standard skelly. I might get some pushback on this one, but I can't help but have fond memories of this creature, despite Nax being relentlessly annoying in their pursuit of you, and of course their screams. I can't help but have some admiration for the green goobers. The bone maw is incredible, and an appropriate welcome to Valheim's most dangerous biome. Their bone bodies and fiery attacks amongst the atmosphere of Red Sea, jagged rocks, and lightning above is something I'll never forget. 24 and 23 bring us both the Seeker and Seeker Soldier with a slight edge to Seeker. I don't know about you, but I never expected creatures like this when the Mistlands first launched, but I'm happy we did. Bugs truly fit the ambience of the obscured biome perfectly. I can still hear their footsteps in my nightmares through the mist. The Fueling Berserker is the second Fueling ranked, and I'm a big fan of this beast. They give me major Shrek or even Frankenstein vibes with their brute blind strength, almost feeling like the product of an experiment gone wrong. I always try to take care of the Fueling around them before taking them on one-on-one, as they are no joke. Cultists take the cake as Frostcave's most iconic creature. A spellcasting wolf? Thank you very much. Just remember to take off your flammable root harness first.
Oh. Oh. No. That sucks.
Kicking off the top 20 is where the margins get razor thin between many of my top creatures, introducing the Great Orc Brute and Shaman. Still to this day, I feel the transition between the meadows and Black Forest is the best of any biome migration, and the introduction of the Greydwarf clan encapsulates it so well. The meadows was a cakewalk, and with the introduction of these massive brutes, a cakewalk no more. The Valkyrie is the highest Asheron's creature in my rankings, as these I feel are the most unique and in my eyes iconic for the biome. The sound of their wings and shriek of their call, combined with their varied moveset, is something I'll never forget. Drake are the first dragon in Valheim and signal what is to come later in the mountains. And who doesn't like dragons, right? For me, it's their shriek that makes them the most memorable. In fact, I can hear it in my head as I write this video. Oh man, what can I say about the Wraith? Easily one of the spookiest and menacing creatures in the game, and with a killer trophy to boot. Many times I've been minding my own business to suddenly notice a blue glow surrounding me, signaling a Wraith is close. Draugr Elite are just awesome. I mean, Undead Vikings, sign me up. While they fall short of the standard Draugr, I really appreciate their scarcity, making your encounters with them more special. Plus, it's cool that you need their trophy for a weapon. You can't deny the presence of Undead Viking in a Viking game, you know? The Greyling. I had a tough time placing this creature, and even now they might just be a bit too high. They're definitely annoying and one of the weaker of the Greydwarf clan, but to me, they signal more of what is to come later in the game and do a great job of communicating to the player what to expect from combat. It's hard to forget your first foe in the timeless Greyling. The Serpent, of course, I will never forget. Raise your hand if your first trip to the ocean was on a raft and a storm hit. Yep, no doubt you remember that. Surtling continue a cluttered top of swamp creatures, as I find these to be one of the most unique in the entire game. Tiny sprites consumed in fire, pretty darn cool to me. While I excluded a few of the passive creatures in the rankings, like birds, chickens, and more, I had to include the deer. As our first puzzle to solve in Valheim, they have a special place in my heart. Plus, there is something I admire about their coup of a call. Cracking the top 10 are fueling. God, I love these creatures. Their laughs, the way they strut around like they own the place, really shows their personalities. They feel almost like cavemen set in a prehistoric world, but there's something that I truly enjoy about a goblin horde patrolling the barren grasslands. The boar. I could not leave them off this list. These little piggies, scattered across the biome, provide the critical leather you will continue to need throughout your playthrough, are tameable, and have excellent sound effects. While simple, I still consider them iconic. Wolves, man. Definitely the icons of the mountains, and like many of this biome's creatures, are one of the most common sources of my pain and suffering in Valheim. Easily the fastest and most relentlessly attacking creature that has surprised me more than once. Not to mention the danger that is their "you are being hunted" event. At least you can recruit them to fight on your side through taming. Taking the top spot in the Mistlands is the incredible and unforgettable Jarl. The sheer size of these beasts I will never forget, and combine that with their unique horn sounds integrated into the backdrop of the vision-reducing mist. I love the design of this creature and truly believe it has the best sound design of any creature to date. I almost feel guilty only giving this one the 7th spot. But how could I not when we have creatures like the Lox? These huge grazing buffalo-like beasts look almost cute and cuddly from a distance, but will absolutely crush you if getting too close. Typically found in groups of 2 or 3, they to me really tie the plains together and make it feel like a true grasslands. These are so iconic, there is even Lox plushies as merch available on Valheim's website. Diving into the top 5 is an absolute banger of a creature in the Abomination. First released, appropriately so, in a stealth update in 2022, Abominations start motionless, hidden as if only a stump, ready to emerge and wreak havoc. The sound design of this creature rivals even the Jarl, and combine that with its badass attack animations, and you have the making of an icon. So good, in fact, that Grimcore, one of the Valheim devs, claims this creature is the best he has ever designed. Draugr, while less eye-popping than the previous Jarl and A-bombs, truly encapsulate what Valheim is, a Viking game set in a mystical world. As undead Vikings, you gain the feeling that something terrible must have happened for them to be replaced with their undead counterparts. Winning the bronze medal is the Greydwarf. Easily the most iconic of its clan, you very likely first encountered them at the border of your first Black Forest, and noticed their beady blue eyes looking out upon you. Greydwarfs are the standard for Valheim creatures and set the tone for more to come in the future. No doubt you remember your first death to the tiny but powerful Desquito. Maybe you didn't even realize you were near plains until one of these buzzards sought you out. Any Valheim veteran will remember their first encounters with these seemingly harmless bugs. Given the shock they provide and the chill they put down Vikings' spines, they easily approach the top of Vikings' most memorable creatures, even for all the wrong reasons. And our champion, and who really else could it be but the big, blue, and immensely iconic troll. What can I say? No experience comes close to your first encounter with one of these in your first Black Forest. Maybe you didn't even see them at first, but only heard their massive footsteps approaching behind you. The troll combines the shock and awe factor with a sort of unexpectedness to elevate itself above the rest. It's quite simple. If I were to create box art for a physical copy of Valheim, the troll would be on it. While a Black Forest creature tops my list of icons, its biome does not take my number one spot. To find out which one does, first, remember to pre-order Stone of Madness launching January 28th using my link in the description, and then watch this video right here.